Welcome back to Turn Down for What, your source for EV news and updates. Like and subscribe for more content like this episode. Let's dive on in. Welcome back to Turn Down for What. Another day,
Another New Year's episode.
another New Year's episode. And Chris Bow is on the line, but we also have two special, but maybe not so special guests in Martin and Jace. Welcome back to the podcast, both of you.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
great to have you back. We are entering into 2025 and are, as we've kind of alluded to in the past couple of episodes, have some exciting things taking place in 2025. And so we wanted to bring Martin and Jace both on to discuss a little bit about this upcoming excitement, as we might. So yeah, welcome to the podcast. Chris,
You want me to kick it off?
kick it off.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that we had set for a goal for 2025 is to expand the podcast brand and bring on a couple guys that are really familiar to the podcast. And I know Jace has done podcasting in the past, and Martin's done a whole bunch of rebuilding with the F-150, and we love to see what he's doing there. So the two of these fellas are gonna kick off a live stream podcast version of Turn Down for What once a week. So I'll kick it over to these guys to kind of introduce themselves and kind of talk about the plans, and then we'll jump on sometimes as we can, but just kind of expanding to another day of the week. So there'll be like a midweek episode that's typically recorded and posted, and then now a live one that we'll also put out there. So I'll kick it over to you, Jace, because you've done this before. It's kind of picking up from something that you did in the past, and just kind of expanding on that. So why don't you lead off, man?
Yeah. Hi guys. If anybody's not familiar with me, my name is Chase Craft Miller. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, 33 years old. My partner, I run a roofing business, and we own two F-150 Lightnings. We have since 2022. We Yeah, I mean, I love. I think there's so much to talk about in the EV truck world, the EV world right now, just in general. I think Martin and I are still trying to decide exactly what our niche is going to be. Martin's really, really technical and has that great background, and so I think we should definitely dive into that because we don't really have anybody else like Martin. So yeah, I think if anybody out there too has any ideas of stuff that they want to see or want to hear that they aren't hearing right now, please reach out and let us know, because we are definitely open to ideas and would love to, expand, people's knowledge and get EVs into the hands of more people.
Yeah, I think that the it's exciting for us because obviously Chris, Jesse, and I have run the podcast for a year and a half now, and we've kind of do a lot of the 10,000 foot view of what EVs are and kind of what they bring, and we're starting to do EV reviews. We just posted a review of the Cadillac Escalade IQ. Audio was terrible. I'm fixing it. We just ordered a new camera. We're going to get better
Yeah.
with the audio, I promise. We've done three, and all audio have been junk, but we're getting there. We're getting better.
It was my fault.
But our podcast episodes have been pretty expansive, and Jesse and I have experience in the charging industry, and Chris is EV enthusiast, and we kind of all got together and are able to share our passion for the EV space. But Martin has just a different knowledge on the technicals, and Jace, you've been really well embedded into the EV space and know a lot of the inner details. And so really digging into that and understanding on a higher level what that might mean, and really having it as a live stream means that our audience can actually have the opportunity to interact live with YouTube, but also us, as we're available, and any special guests that you guys might be bringing on as you deep dive maybe into some of the technicals with Martin's knowledge, and really looking at some of those things, because obviously, Martin, you've rebuilt several EVs from the guts, everything, and really understanding what that might look like for somebody that might be looking to do those things. But that live section will just be a cool opportunity to dive into whatever in the EV space kind of inspires you. But it can be a super technical conversation, or it can be a brand related conversation. But we will be able to bring guests on live that can actually, you guys can interact with as an audience. So just a really cool, exciting expansion of the brand. And like Chris was saying, it kind of gives a second day of the week to hear from Turn Down for What and kind of get some unique content tied around to what we're doing and also what some of the cool, unique things happening in the EV space are. So, Martin, I'll let you reintroduce yourself and kind of give some of your thoughts.
Yeah, sure, sure. Hey, if for you guys that don't remember me or know me, my name is Martin Meek with Martin Rebuilds. Been a avid EV enthusiast for a couple of years now, and been I feel like a very active member of the Facebook groups for the Lightnings, and I'm also on all of the EV sites. I try to stay in with the Chevrolet, Tesla stuff. To keep up on the latest and greatest. Of course, it's hard to keep up with Jace on inside stuff because Jace just has the knowledge. But mine's been I'm 45 years old, middle of Kansas. It's tough for people here to kind of accept EVs. We are not an EV adopted state. The city I live in has a huge refinery. So with that said, I've been trying to educate folks around me for what use do we have for this tool? And I've been saying here for a while, it's kind of my creed now, the right tool for the right job. And there are situations where they're good and they're not, but I want to make sure that we get this out there so that people understand. And I don't mean, oh, the brochure says it can do this and this and this and this. That was kind of the reason that I hit Jace up. I wanted to do a little more of a technical podcast because it seems like we have every week the same 100 different questions. It's getting cold. It's getting hot. My truck won't charge this and this and this. And I don't want it to specifically be just about the Lightning, even though that's one good topic. Trying to kind of get into some technicals on answering those questions live. I think it would help people bring to the Turn Down for What podcast and give us more of a spinoff because you guys do a great job from that 10,000 foot view and doing some of the reviews and really showing some real world experience with that. And I wanted to bring that in kind of a little tighter, a little more technical, like, okay, we talk about the midgate on a Chevrolet EV. Well, let's really get into that. Let's talk about how is it to actually do that by yourself, or how much noise does it actually have? Maybe I can get into doing some reviews where we're actually measuring decibel levels between those two trucks, or something along those lines. That's kind of the meat and potatoes that I wanted to get into on different topics. And I love the idea that we can put this out there and have people be able to either email us in or live during the thing, ask some questions, and we can kind of help answer some of the myths and some of the details about, hey, does Google EV routing actually work in my car? What do I have to do it? Because there's a lot of misinformation that rolling around out there, and I think we can help educate some of the people who are either on the fence or have one and don't know how to run it. Especially since there's always something new that comes out, like Google announced or Android announced last week that the phone as a key was going to stop working, and the world kind of stopped for some people. Well, it didn't really, but I'd like to have a platform that talks about some of the things that actually happens and why is your phone as a key stop working and what you got to do to get it working and what should you do in the meantime. I want something you can sink your teeth into and really take home with you. So.
Yeah, Martin's like my WebMD for the Lightning. Whenever I've had something where I needed to decipher different things, different codes, different part numbers, I've had the technician tell me a description of something, and then I'll give it to Martin, and he'll be like, "It's not what it is. It's this." And he's got like full diagrams and pictures, and then pops open his truck and sends me a video, and I'm like, "Oh, this totally makes more sense now." And so I think that's one of the great things that just as I've just kind of cultivated a friendship with you, Martin, is just the deeper understanding and the way you simplify things and the way you've been inside of the truck in an area that most of us will never get to see.
Right.
And to your point, it's not just the Lightning, man. You've been deep with Teslas and people that are connected with the Chevys and that kind of technical knowledge is huge. And then one of the things I love about this group is just the diverse area of geographic location, kind of to your point, Martin, being in Kansas, it's very much different than it is in California, which is so much different than it is in Tennessee and what's going on there with expansion, which is entirely different from what Jace is doing up in Ohio. And I think it just shows all the different diverse areas and uses of electric vehicles, different weather, all kinds of different cultures. And I think that just brings to a great conversation. And Jace, for that matter, for those that don't know, is an international man of electricity. not simply
Stop it.
not simply U.S. He has been
Oh.
international. Um,
Oh gosh.
so I think there is again just that awesome connection there.
And what I
It's
will say
true. I
is,
cannot lie. It's true.
yeah. And what I'll say is, we are working through the technical process of how to launch this live show. It will be live streamed on YouTube. For our audience that listens on Spotify while they're driving or whatever, we'll post the episode after. But if you want to be interactive with that conversation, you will likely need to join the YouTube conversation, because that's probably going to be the best way that we can platform this. But we will be looking at that metric and kind of seeing how all we can involve which platforms for streaming. We'll release more of those details as we get close. We're working with a streaming partner to really get this broadcast out to all of our different channels that we're on. It's easier to post an episode the same day that's recorded than it is to live stream. So that takes a different task. So we are going to work through those technicals. Bear with us as we launch this live show. But we're excited to bring it and kind of have you guys with your expertise joining the team and what that might look like for the new year. So the intention is to have our very first streamed episode on January the 17th. We will announce as we get closer the time and maybe a topic as we approach, but we will have a big kickoff and we're going to work on getting all the technicals aligned by that point in time. But mark your calendars for that Friday, the 17th afternoon. And we will have a live stream that everybody can hop on and start to interact with. And even if you catch it after the fact, leave a comment. Start commenting below stuff you want to hear about, but also for that video, you can comment, and then with the next video, they might be able to pick it back up and answer whatever those questions would be. So we'll kind of get some of that alignment in place as we progress over the next couple of weeks. We've been really excited working in the background with Martin and Jace to try to get the best possible offering for the consumer base, but we do feel like there's going to be some really unique and excellent wisdom shared far beyond what any of us, Jesse, Josh, and Chris could provide. And so it's cool to add, like Chris is saying, different geographic, but also just a different understanding of EVs and maybe a different connection to a guest base that could come in and help provide some of those technical questions. So,
And the last thing I'll say, since I have not said anything, I'll give you a quick overview of what Josh and I and others who will join us will be going to and reporting on. So here in January, Josh and I will be taking a trip to one of the states that we're targeting for the NEVI program. So we're going to go through and meet with universities. We're going to meet with some officials. We're going to meet with some of the Clean Cities people. So he and I will go through those meetings after we get out and kind of go over what our process was and why we're doing that, because we think it's important to involve the communities that we're going for. Another thing we'll be going to is the 6th annual EV Charging Summit in Atlanta. That'll be coming up in July. So we'll report from that. We'll be reporting from the EV Charging Summit and Expo in Las Vegas this year. So Josh and I will be at that. At least one of us, maybe both of us, will be at that and reporting. We'll also be at the ACT again this year in the state where Christopher is at. So you will be seeing us in Anaheim, California. We'll be doing that.
I think we might have a re-rendezvous this year with Chris, and we're going to hit up ACT and blow up some stuff together. It'll be fun.
Do we have
Yeah.
anybody at CES this year?
I'm not going to CES. Yeah.
We don't. If I had more time, maybe.
Yeah,
we did get to make it
too.
Every week,
it's
every week
expensive.
there's something going on in the EV space, and it's just you got to pick and choose your battles. But yeah,
Right.
there's
It might be a good topic for that first that first live stream is to bring some people on. I know people that'll be at it, but
Yep.
yeah, it's that show's too big for me,
if they can
man.
make it, because they were there last year, they said. So yeah, that would be fantastic if they could kind of report and tell us what they see as well. So
That's
that
kind
might
of
be a trick.
exactly.
You might be able to interview them there in California and just put that on yourself too, because you know what to ask. So
That's kind of exactly what I had in mind too when we had these weekly live streams, is to bring on. I have a friend of mine who runs one. There's 3 of them that do it, kind of like you guys were, and they're a fishing live cast. So it's and they're starting to bring on the Elite Series anglers from the Bassmaster one every week and kind of get their perspective on something, whether it's big picture or right in the guts of it. So I think that's a great idea when we have this, to see if we can get somebody in that's a technical specialist or in a space that brings an aspect that we haven't seen to that live stream.
so if you're a CEO out there, please call us. We'll be happy to have you on in the space and talk with you about your products and what you're doing. Another one, like Josh mentioned earlier, we're going to go see the factory where they make the EV zero turn John Deere lawnmower. That's close to us,
That's
so we're
right.
going to
Yeah.
go
I
see
have
that
one of
soon.
those on order, by the way. I will have one
Yeah.
mid-January.
We'll
Yep,
go
I
watch
can't
them
wait to
make
see
it
it.
for you.
Yep.
Yeah,
We
I
need
ordered
a
a
review.
380R.
We need a review video, man. When you get that, we need to get a review
That
video
will be the
going.
There
review
is
video.
not, and you're right,
Absolutely.
Chris. There's not one 380R on YouTube, and I got one coming, so that's going to be the first thing I do. I don't know how I'm going to do it, I guess with a blizzard suit on, but
Yeah.
Go mow
Jason and
the
I are going to be
snow,
jealous with our
Mow the
with
snow.
Yeah, mow the
yeah.
snow.
Yep.
Jason and I have our ego mowers that aren't going to be quite as robust as the John Deere, but we will
I
Well,
have
I
enviously
don't
one.
have the
await.
mower.
I
I
got one
just
as
have the
well.
snow blower. I don't have the mower,
Oh, you don't have the
unfortunately.
mower?
We have this. We have
Oh,
a Skag. We still have
okay.
yeah, it's a nice mower. It's not electric, but it's we bought it what 4 years ago now, right before electric was
yeah,
really we
a
didn't we
thing.
didn't buy electric yet, but yeah, it's just too nice of a mower to get rid of. But we're looking. We're looking.
Yeah.
Skag,
Well,
maybe
let
Deere.
me
I don't
let me
know.
do a review on this deer because I work at John Deere as my day job. So
Oh,
I've
nice.
already pulled up all the 3D models and I went through this 380R with a fine tooth comb. So when we get to that, I'd like to do an episode on that because I don't know that this podcast necessarily needs to be about vehicles in particular. We could talk about
No.
drills, we can talk about mowers, whatever electric that's driven that
Yeah.
needs to be discussed.
Yep.
I mean, we've
Yep.
talked before about, Whisper Arrow and all kinds of other, electric related things. So that's the fun of
Mhm.
it is each one of us is going to come across different things. I'll be traveling out to Norway later this year for my first visit out to Europe. I'm going to try to follow in Jason's footsteps and get international, get a stamp on my passport.
We're gonna
And
call him Jason
Mhm.
Jr. by the time he's done.
when I grow up, man, that's just what I want to like. I just take inspiration from that, and but I'm excited about seeing some. I don't know. That's not really European, I guess. What is Scandinavian? What does that count as,
Yeah.
Jace? Yeah,
Scandinavia.
yeah.
I
So I'm
think you
looking
could still
forward.
consider it Europe, but yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it's I'm not good at geography. I'm a typical American, so I don't know.
it's
But the
a
plane,
flight, man. It's a long haul.
yeah, from
Chris,
San
there's nothing
Francisco.
typical about you, buddy.
No,
He's
the
going all the way to Norway and Africa. It's crazy,
So funny story on that. I went to book the flight, and it is a 10-hour flight, and I'm going to book this thing, and we're doing KLM, I think is the name of the airline,
Hmm.
and weirdly, for some strange reason, the first class seats were the cheapest flight, so it'll also be my first experience with like first class type luxury. Like none of the first class seats had been sold, but a bunch of the other ones had. And so it was like
You just
significantly
wait.
less.
It is so
Oh
nice. Like
man,
I had never flown first class before, and wow, it
Chris,
So
was.
you're
I'm
gonna have to go rent you a Gucci watch and get a good hat to be able to.
yeah, I
His
don't
would
Take
be
advantage of
Hoochie,
everything.
Hoochie
Take the
brand.
drink. Take everything. They give it to you. So you might as well just
I,
keep eating and drinking.
yeah, my sister and brother-in-law who go international. One of the reasons we're going is my brother-in-law is he's from the Netherlands, and so they go out there that part of the world frequently, and they have traveled extensively, and they're like, yeah, they're telling me like, oh, this is going to change your life, man, and they like I said, bring out drinks and warm towels and all kinds of stuff, and so I'll video some of that, but we're doing a cruise out there around Norway and leaving
Nice.
Amsterdam, and but I'm trying to meet up with roaming Norway William, and we're going to try to get together at one of the places, and hopefully everything the stars align. We'll see how he's doing out there with the timing, but I'm going to try to meet up with him. But at the very least, I want to try to find an EV charging station and try to do some stuff and just check it out.
Maybe you could reach out to Ford Norg too, which is Ford Norway. I mean, they have some great dealerships out there and stuff too. I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. So we could maybe
Yeah,
work on
that's a
that
good
as well.
idea. So yeah, looking forward to that for sure. I love that there are parts of the world that I mean their charging is different than we have. Their culture and the percentages are different. It's gonna be fun to see
And
a
it is
world that is
beautiful. It is
yeah,
the most beautiful place I've ever been. It's stunning.
yep. So that's the goal, man. That's the goal is to just kind of experience all these things. We've got here in the Bay Area on Saturday our first Cars and Coffee. So we'll see how that goes, and we're kind of aligning with Sophie from the Northern California Mach E Club and We're also getting with the Rivian, the Bay Area Rivian Club, and Zach, who is going to be there as well. And so, yeah, I think as each one of us experience different things in our communities, we get to share those things, and that's a lot of fun, I think, for everybody.
Awesome.
I think that's about it for the news. I mean, there's plenty coming up. We'll have to share. I do have a video coming out where I drove my sister's BMW iX that I'm going to share, and
Fun.
I'm trying to convince her to get on one of the podcasts so that she can share. She used to have a Ford EV early on. Jace, you would know this better than me. I keep forgetting. Which was it? The Focus that came out early on.
The Focus, yeah, and the well, we had one, the big long one. They had the C-Max, and then what's the not the Taurus? Is
Oh,
that
was
the
it Taurus? Did they have
Taurus?
an
The
electric
Fu
Taurus at some point?
What's the big
I
one?
there's a Fusion
The
hybrid, but that's not
Fusion.
them.
Thank you, not the Taurus, the Fusion. Thank you. I had
Yeah.
one. We should know. Yeah, Fusion with the
Yep.
hybrid, C-Max. They even had like random. I believe it was Rangers. Only a few.
2000.
Like,
You could get a full battery
yeah,
Ranger, solid
yep,
lead acid.
yep. Yep, it
there's
was crazy. I've seen pictures. I don't think I've ever seen one. I've seen an
I
EV1, but
want
I
to
don't think I've
lithium
ever
swap
seen the
one.
Ranger.
For
That'd be
Ranger,
awesome.
I know
I got to get that
for
guy on the podcast. There's a guy here in the Bay Area. I've been on his podcast, and he is rebuilding an electric Ranger out here in the Bay Area, and I need to get him on. But yeah, my sister had that first and went and got a Model S, really early Model S, and then got a Model X, and then just recently got the BMW and traded it in. So I just think that's a good conversation. What's it like to transition?
Hmm.
A lot of people, get into Tesla as their first EV, and then it's just a different experience to go out of that Tesla ecosystem, especially because BMW doesn't have supercharging yet. So, um, yeah, I had a great time driving the vehicle, and it's got some different things that I thought were great about it. Some other things that I think they're still behind in, but like I'd love to get her